Wow, this movie was really effective.
He was real. I gotta give him credit on that.
I love it. You're not even reviewing the movie. You're just lecturing the main character.
I know. My daddy, I don't give a Get your shit together, Scott. I want to thank our sponsor for this review, Row 8. As you know, the King of Staten Island is going to be streaming this Friday. We got a little early preview of it for ourselves for this review. There it is right there. You can find it on many platforms, but you can get yourself a discount on Row 8. Row 8, you're going to want to try that out because, as you know, streaming is the way it's going. The studio's talking about, I don't care what you're talking about, theaters.
I know.
Shut your ass up. VOD and streaming, baby, is the future. And Row 8 is there to give it to you. Row 8 is the place to be. You know, we told you about it with Scoob, and we told you it wasn't just Scoob. They got all of these big hits that are going to be on Row 8. You're going to be seeing the King of Staten Island on this platform this Friday, but they got a whole bunch of other things on there. All the hits, all the big movies when they're available for streaming. And also, they got classic movies out there too. And those are probably a little bit easier to access than some of these big movies right here. But tell you what, I'll let you pick and choose whatever you like. Because if you use our code, and there it is right there. Now, this definitely is not very professional because I had to do this right before the show. I couldn't be going in and doing no graphics and drawing pretty pictures for you. So we got very basic with it, but that's all you need to see.
Hey, man, you know what? It's simple.
That's like a generic can.
Well, at least you didn't use Comic Sans for the time.
Nah, hey, I put up the first thing I could. There it is, _Row 8. Let me spell it for you. Hey, it ain't how it looks. It ain't how pretty it looks.
Look, it works.
That's it.
That's
it.
what you need to know.
Yeah, you don't give a damn how cheap that looks. All you want is to save some money. So if you use that code _Row 8, you'll get yourself $1.50 off of any movie that you want to stream, your first movie that you want to stream off Row 8. If you don't like the movie that you're watching, let's just say you don't like The King of Staten Island. Let Mr. 8 know right there. Let Mr. Row 8 know, and they'll refund your money and let you use it for whatever other film that you want to watch. Before we start talking about that particular movie, let's talk about Judd Apatow and some other movies that he's done before that, because he's actually made a career off of making movies about people who just can't get their shit together.
Yep, that does seem to be his thing.
People who just can't grow up. Maybe that's the way I should put it. People who either can't get their shit together or can't grow up, or a little bit of both.
Yeah, and it used to be, it's always the man-child. But he's done it with women, too.
Oh, there's always something with him. And you're right, he's done it with all kinds. You know, first he had a guy who was gainfully employed. You know, he was living his life. He was paying his bills. He just didn't get no ass.
Virgin? Oh, you are hilarious. Not have sex. I just kind of stopped trying.
First, he was making a movie about grown-ass virgins out there, man. But like I said, you know, at least the guy had his shit together.
Yeah.
You know, he wasn't terrible with women.
Yeah, but he
was responsible.
He was a fully realized human being.
Yeah. He didn't realize pussy, but I was trying to avoid.
Yeah, I knew you could.
I said, Corey, get out of here, man. Get out of here before you say that word. Get out of here. But you had to keep me in here, Mark.
I was never in suspense. I'm like, he's gonna do it. There's no way around it.
I know, and I tried. Apparently, he didn't make a movie about this man-child yet. Where's my man-child movie? That guy has had his life together, but then he started making movies about, as we said, the man-child.
Yeah, the very next movie.
Yeah, we had a guy who actually had sex. He was no virgin. Should have been a virgin because this man did not need no babies at all.
Are you living your vision right now?
I am kind of living my vision.
Wow, that is sad.
Of course, we know that's knocked up. Mm-hmm. Where a big man-child ended up getting a girl pregnant and had a baby more mature than him when he popped out the vagina. Baby had more sense than him. His first seconds on earth.
Get a job, Dad. Get a real job, Dad.
Yeah, he was like, shit, that's my dad?
Put me back.
That kid's like, all right, let's get this over with. we say they had women in there too, train wreck and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know. But now we're talking about the man children with daddy issues, and that is what we have here with the King of Staten Island, Pete Davidson, who plays a man child every week on Saturday Night Live. To the point where they just even told him, like, you know what, man, you really don't want to be here. It's like, man.
Even he's like, I'm not fired yet, but what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah, people are wondering what's going on with this guy because in real life, it seems like he can't get his shit together.
Yeah. I mean, this movie is semi-autobiographical.
Well, they said you up every relationship you've been in, and now you're about to up this big opportunity that you had with this show that everybody wants to be on. And he still has the attitude like somebody who doesn't give a fuck. Like, we'll see what happens. But this is somewhat autobiographical here. This is Pete Davidson with this story that he wrote along with Judd Apatow about what it was like to cope with the loss of his father, who he lost his father in 9/11. And while this might be a little bit of an exaggerated version of Pete Davidson, he did say there was enough of me in this movie to where making this was therapeutic. You know, we always hear people making movies that were therapy for them, but ain't shit to the rest of us. It's like, I mean, this is cool, but this is a waste of time for me. I'm glad you get millions of dollars for your therapy sessions. I shouldn't have to watch the shit though. A lot of people say that, you know, a lot of times when people are putting their real problems up on the screen, you actually get the best performances because
it comes from a real place.
It comes from a real place. Let's go ahead and see if that's the case with Pete Davidson in his latest therapy session, King of Staten Island.
I like your tattoos. What are those numbers on your arm?
Oh, that's
Man, this bitch blind. How high did they get you?
Well, you know, flirt with somebody. I like your your tattoos.
Yeah, folks. Oh fuck, I lost my place there. Yeah. I gotta ask you, are those tattoos real or were those for the movie?
No, he's covered in tattoos.
So that shit is real because those are some shitty tattoos.
Yeah.
God damn.
No, this is quite autobiographical.
Shit, no wonder you need therapy. I was covered up in that kind of ink. I need therapy too.
He's 24 years old, Marjorie. Let that bird fly, please.
Don't worry, Mom. I know your daughter got smart and went to college and abandoned us. But I'm still here. I'm gonna be here forever.
I'm laughing because her sister that's telling her that. I'm picturing that was you through the whole movie with a drink in your hand going, let this bird fly.
Martin, you must have. Were you looking over my fence? I watched this drinking. I had about 3 beers watching this. I watched this in my backyard on the laptop. Me and my wife, and we went back there eating chips and drinking beer, and we were both like, this motherfucker. I even told my wife, I said, if we have a kid like this, I'm not even kicking him out. I'm beating the shit out of him. I don't give a. I'm not even waiting for 24. At 18, if I ever see any ounce of Pete Davidson in him from this movie, I'm beating the fuck out that kid.
You're going to kick him out of the nest. And by that, I mean, you're going to take him up to a tree.
And throw his ass
throw him
down.
off.
Shit, I'm going to beat him going up the tree. Kick his ass down and jump on top of him and finish the job. You asshole. He made this mother pissed me off in this movie. You know
I knew it.
You know I don't like this shit.
I know you don't.
You know I don't, man. I was looking at him. I was like, you know how I am.
I gotta tell my mom you tried to drown me.
To the above ground pool, you're like 8 feet tall.
Now let me tell you something. Your dad was a hero.
You should have seen me there again.
Oh, I know.
Beat his ass, Bill Burr.
I know you were.
Shit, I would have ducked in the pool and just hold his head down. We'll say this. You know, we're talking about how this is somewhat semi-autobiographical. This is probably the most semi-autobiographical movie that Judd Apatow has done for one of his characters. I know Adam Sandler played a comedian that felt, he was depressed and was, second-guessing his career. But even that was a little more detached. I mean, this, what you're seeing here, this is directly based off of some events in Pete Davidson's life. We've already told you that this is this way of kind of coping with the death of his father from 9/11 when he was a little boy. That's little Pete right there, and that's That's his father, Scott Davidson. And he's named himself after the character after his father in the movie. You know, there's other things that they put in there. A lot of people know that Pete Davidson has Crohn's disease.
And even the opening scene where he's driving with his eyes closed, almost like about to just ram into something. He said he did that when he was young.
Yeah, because he wrote some of the script here. He co-wrote the script with Judd Apatow. Imagine he wrote a lot of the parts that were closest to him. But, you know, the Crohn's disease, that's why you don't see it right here, but that's why he has dark circles under his eyes sometimes. I think that's why he's got them big-ass juicy lips, too. And look, it either has to be Crohn's disease or he has some black somewhere in his life, man. No, everybody talking about, no, he's Italian. No, man, that is mulatto right there.
Well, one of the things I find about Pete Davidson that makes me like him or keep coming back to him is that he's like a living cartoon character. Like Bill Burr saying he's 8 feet tall, he's skinny as a rail, he's got those big lips and teeth, he's got that voice that talks like this.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like a mulatto Jerry Lewis or something. It's like I refuse to believe this is not Italians hate people that look like that sometimes. The mafia hates motherfuckers that look like that. Shit, they left a basket at the fire station where his dad was. And they just kept his ass, because that's some Obama shit right there. But, you know, I tell you, man, as far as the character Scott goes, yeah, Martin and I have been talking about this before. This dude, man. I would, you know, because the whole thing is he gets by talking about how I lost my dad when I was a kid. You know, he meant the world to me. I lost my father. And I tell him, you know, Scott, really, man, I understand. I know it's painful, but I'm going to beat the out of you, man. I don't give a shit. I don't give a about whether I'm going to beat the living shit out of you. If you ain't grown by the time I give you this ass whooping, I got to kill you. I'm going to give you an ass whooping to bring you up to date. I hate this motherfucker, man. You know how much I hate man children.
I do.
In movies, man.
I do. I hate them myself.
And there is so much to hate about Scott. Mm-hmm. Where do I begin with Scott? Scott is, you know, the thing about Scott, and I use this word to talk about the worst of the worst. Scott is a complete loser. Scott is not a fuck up. Fuck ups try. You have to try for somebody to say you fucked up.
Right.
A loser means you ain't even trying.
Mm-hmm.
There's somebody even try at life, man. He's 24. He's still at home. His 18-year-old sister, who's about to go to college, has to kind of be his mother because he's driven his real mother, played by Marissa Tomei. He's driven her crazy sometimes to where he just kind of Stockholm syndrome her ass, where she just has accepted him as my perpetual little boy, my up Peter Pan.
Yeah, he can't move on. You know, I have to be there for him.
Judd Apatow's daughter, I believe, plays his sister.
She's really good.
She is good in the movie. Look, I don't like nepotism as much as anybody else, but goddamn. Mm-hmm. That talent ran through the family, and she's good, man. Shit, why hire somebody that's gonna pay for him? You can just pay your own daughter. I'm not even paid. Just put in the movie for free.
Right.
So you got all that talent, and she's related to you?
I don't get a check? Hey, I pay for your college.
Yeah. But his sister, man, what's her name?
The actress Judd Apatow.
Judd Apatow, yeah, she is great, man. Yeah. And she is so sick of his shit. She's like, Mom gave up on you. And now that I'm leaving, I don't give a but I don't want you to bring Mom down. Mom's not gonna have any protection now that I'm gone.
Well, see, that's the thing. What makes her character so good, or her so good, is that she's even more nuanced than that. She's like, I'm sick of your shit. I don't want you bringing Mom down, but you're my brother, and I'm worried about you all the time, and I'm sick of you making me worry about you.
And that's the other reason why I gotta choke the shit out of Scott, because she's talking about how much I care about you, and Scott is not reciprocating any love or affection, and he can't even give her attention.
Like, be nice to Mom, okay? Don't give her a hard time. She deserves a break.
I always give her a break. When am I gonna get my break? Like.
Because no one wants to go to a restaurant and watch people get tattooed while they eat. It's gross.
It's the best idea ever. Ruby Tattoos Days, where everyone's welcome. Chicken and tattoos.
You moron. You idiot. You know, he's talking about tattoos, how he wants to be a tattoo artist. You know, he doesn't even care about his passion. He gives shitty tattoos and takes pride in it. Yeah. Got this Obama that looks like a cross between Pee Wee Herman and Sloth from the Goonies. Yeah. The is going. And the thing is, he knows that he can't even do that right. And people tell him, wow, man, your tattoos are really horrible. He's like, yeah, I know. Like, he doesn't even want to, he doesn't even like aspire to be better at that. And he'll tell people, it's my passion. It's what I want to do.
Well, he's got that loser dream of, I'm not as good as I could be right now, but I'm going to go study with somebody, and then I'll be there.
And they looking at him like, no, you not.
Right.
They say you draw like a 5-year-old. No, I'm not going to hire you. Are you out your goddamn mind? You can take out the trash. They actually have a tattoo artist telling, hey, man, you ain't getting paid. And they told him, they say, you will be our bitch while you were here, because that's all you can do is be a bitch. Doesn't help that he acts like a 9-year-old when his mom finds happiness. She starts dating another guy. Mom, what are you doing to me? It's not, are you happy, or what are you doing to yourself? And what are you doing to me? Everything's about this guy right here, man. Smokes weed all day with his goddamn loser friends. You know, the guys you saw at the beginning of the trailer right there. He actively hangs around people so that they can enable him in his losery life. He does two things that really bother me. One of those, he wants to blame everything on ADD. I can't pay attention. I got the ADD. I'm so sick of these kids out here talking about I got ADD and I need medication. No, you need a kick in your ass because you're lazy. Scott is just lazy. I can't pay attention, so I can't do anything. All right, maybe I can understand that if you're a kid who had too much sugar or a short attention span, but you're 24 years old. Get off your ass and do something, man. You're lazy. And the other thing, talking about my daddy died. You know, I can't cope with life. That's not only gave me ADD, but it gave me depression. And it's like, you know what your father would say right now if he was here? Get off your ass and do something. If your father was here right now, he'd beat the shit out of you, just like I'm about to do. That shit make always an excuse. I can't do it because of this. And it's worse because he used his dad. You know, if you love your dad so much, if you really loved your dad so much, you would actually try to respect his memory by going out and doing something. So, you know, and you wouldn't be disrespecting him by using him as an excuse.
Wow, this movie was really effective.
He was real. I gotta give him credit on that.
I love it. You're not even reviewing the movie. You're just lecturing the main character.
I know. Right? My daddy, I don't give a Get your shit together, Scott. What really makes me mad? I like Scott. I'm so mad because I was like,
yeah.
I want to hate this guy.
I mean, that's the thing with Pete Davidson. He knows in real life, he's like, yeah, I f up all the time. I don't know why people keep giving me breaks, but everybody likes him. He's got a charm to him.
He really does.
I mean, honestly, with this, I felt myself going back and forth on him so much because when it opens with him practically trying to kill himself, I was like, you know what? His depression is real, and ADD, while it might be frustrating and all, it's a real thing. And I was like, you know what? He's got a lot of shit going on, and I got to cut him some slack. But it took him 20 minutes to make me go, you know what? F this dude.
Yeah.
Because what it keeps coming back to is that, yeah, despite all this, he's so selfish and so self-absorbed. And it's always me. Everything is through the lens of me. People trying to reach out to him, and he gets defensive like this.
But I gotta tell you, I do like Scott, and it's not just because I like Pete Davidson, man. I like Pete Davidson. I don't have anything against Pete Davidson. I see him up in life and everything, but I hear him talk and I hear his comment. I'm just like, you know, this guy's genuinely funny.
Yeah, and
you know that's. This right here with me liking somebody who you've heard me rant about for the last 10 minutes, it speaks to the strength of Judd Apatow and Pete Davidson.
Yeah,
their writing of this and his performance. And he always comes with a joke that feels like, because it's written for him, the jokes don't feel like they're written for a movie or they're written to like make the audience laugh. They're written to fit this person's personality, and so they don't even feel like jokes. They feel like just real funny conversations. You know, Pete Davidson being himself, the humor is written for him, and the whole thing has a very natural feel to it. That's why I can accept Scott at his worst. If I'm mad at Scott and I'm really feeling that strongly about it, then y'all made me this man because y'all doing something right.
Right.
I'm angry, and I'm happy that you made me angry because you did this right. The movie doesn't try to make you feel good about Scott, and I really like that. there's a point in the movie where halfway through the movie says, you know what, this guy. The movie says it too. The movie's like, I'm getting tired of Scott. This guy needs to get up and do something. Halfway through the movie, maybe even a little bit before it, like people are tired of his shit.
Yeah.
And they don't, and I like that. The movie's aware. They're like, hey, you just got to see this guy for what he is and for what he's worth, and that'll make you appreciate when people actually start to kick him in his ass at some point.
Which is, that's Bill Burr's role.
The story, even when they, as it progresses, it feels like they're not trying to do this thing where it's the triumphant story of a loser who got his shit together. No, I tell you what it is. As the story goes along, it feels so genuine to the point where they don't try to give you a real happy ending about Scott. Thing with Scott, I tell you, there's a difference between a loser and a fuck up. Scott has grown from loser to fuck up. And that, my friend, is actual progress for this man right here. Because the strength really is in the writing. They have a lot of moments to do some very predictable things that they avoid. There was a moment in the movie, I'm not going to tell you where it is, I'm not going to even give you a hint, but I would just say that they had a moment where they could have gone with a very predictable, easy laugh sex joke, and they didn't do it. It could have been one of those awkward situations, awkward sex situations that people go for, like to make you go like, ooh, and
oh, I know what you're talking about.
And to get a cheap laugh. Judd Apatow and I would assume Pete Davidson, they know not to go for that cheapness right there. You think Scott's life is going to go one particular way because of I won't say who they are, but let's just say he has some newfound friends in the movie, and they avoid a predictable moment with that. Because you start to think, oh, okay, this is what it's going to take for him to get his life together. And it doesn't go there either, man.
It's good they didn't, because there's no way that would have happened within the span of this movie.
No, not at all.
Or if ever. Honestly.
Yeah, you don't really have a whole lot of hope for Scott.
No.
But you were talking about the supporting cast. Go ahead, man.
Oh, well, I mean, we've seen Bill Burr act in things, so it's not a surprise that he was good, but he was great for this role. Steve Buscemi, being not very Steve Buscemi, but he was a firefighter himself, so he brought that into it. Who I really liked was not only Judd Apatow, but Belle Powley.
Yeah, you know what? Let me go down the list here, because we'll concentrate on Bill Burr right now. I'll tell you the reason why I like Bill Burr in the movie. Bill Burr is he's known to be sort of an abrasive comic, because some of the best parts of the movie are from people that are known for being funny, but they bring the most drama to it. Bill Burr, you see a softer side of him, which is him still saying go f*** yourself, but he's just saying a little more quietly, a little more softly.
He gets to get it out of his system when he first comes on the scene.
Yeah, he does. He's really good with Marissa Tomei too. Like when they're flirting together, like this is not a movie just about Scott. They spent a lot of time looking at the people around Scott, mostly with Bill Burr and Marissa Tomei as he starts to date his mom. And those are some real sweet moments, man. Now, whose idea for Bill Burr to have that walrus ass mustache, I don't know, but thank you, because that shit is funny. They get a lot of comedy mileage out that mustache, man. Do. But you're right about Steve Buscemi. Steve Buscemi's not really in the movie that much, but that's another guy who's been known for being funny because he's got the eyes and everything and whatnot. But lately he's been doing more serious stuff. And in here, he gives one of the most impactful speeches in the film. Like, man, he's just the old guy at the fire department. Mm-hmm. Like, he's not playing it up or anything. It's like it's a real mellow performance.
Yeah,
I even liked his loser ass friends.
Normally I hate loser friends in movies, but these guys, I was like, all right, I would never hang out with you guys, but it's fun watching you.
Well, Judd Apatow has a really cool way of either bringing in some, whether they're regulars, they're anywhere from regulars that he works with to the freaks and geek crowd and comedians that he's worked with before. Regulars are, he puts in people who look like real people. I love that kind of stuff. Yeah. But his friends, man, they're regular Judd Apatow supporting characters. They sit around, they're not exactly the best people. They ain't doing shit. It's like the friends that what's his name?
Seth Rogen
had and knocked up.
Yeah.
All the guys that Steve Carell worked with, the 40-year-old virgin.
Yeah.
They're all interchangeable. You know, there's varying degrees of being a loser, but these guys are actually pretty funny, man. These guys are, you know, they're saying really funny things. They're just smart asses, and they're great at it. There's an awkward scene that's a little more serious with them that I didn't think worked completely effective. In fact, it's a lot of the movie's really good that when they get to a moment like that, it stood out, and I was like, yeah, this just ain't working with this.
Yeah, I mean, when we get into things we don't like about it, I elaborate on that.
Yeah. I won't tell you what it is. I wonder if you'll even see it in the movie. This is something that stood out to me. But yeah, man, Marissa Tomei is very good.
She's very good.
But she's always good. She's just adorable, man. Shit.
Well, I like when she finally just decided she had enough.
Yeah. I don't want to tell the scene, but yeah, no, she's really good. But I tell you, man, yeah, I agree with you. What's her name? Belle Powley. This girl, I've been impressed with her range, man. She's been in so many things. A lot of people still don't know to this day that she's a British actress. Because she's still one of the girls that you see because she has such a unique face.
Yeah.
You're like, man, I've seen this chick in something before, and you just can't remember it, even though she's giving great performances. She was the girl from The Diary of a Teenage Girl, and also she was in that movie White Boy Rick. Now, she's done a lot of other things, but those are the two things that I've seen.
It's always
her
Diary
in.
of a Teenage Girl that I think of her from.
Yeah. But you were going to talk about some of the things that you didn't like. I told you one of mine, which was one of the serious scenes with the loser friends. You got another one?
Well, the biggest thing is the running time.
Yeah.
Being over 2 hours. This is a story that should be told in 2 hours or less. And that going over into 2 hours and 17 minutes, I knew some scenes that I was like, this could be cut. No, not at all.
Yeah, man, Judd Apatow, he thinks he's making some epics.
Yeah.
You're making movies about people who are f-ups, man. You know, we don't need to be here for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Look at it. 2.5. 2 hours. At 2 hours, I get the point.
Right. It's the story's not that complicated. I mean, stories like this have been told. As a matter of fact, a big thing is that just a month or two ago, Pete Davidson was in that movie Big Time Adolescence, where he plays a man-child. I mean, it's weird to have these two movies back to back. Plus, both were going to show at South by Southwest. But it's still like, these stories, they really aren't all that different from each other.
Yeah.
And that one was short. So I was like, yeah, this didn't need to be, 2+ hours.
Yeah. The running time really didn't bother me that much.
I was wondering about that because I was like, you know what? I know I'm sitting here longer than I should, but it's not bugging me. And I think part of it is just because it is, we see an arc happening. We're seeing progression. We're hanging out with characters we've come to like.
Well, I didn't notice the time because I'm gonna be honest with you. I tell you, I was getting a little drunk watching this. I was. This is why I don't need to go to the theater, man. I was sitting in the backyard, sitting in the shade with the wife and I. We were sitting up there eating tortilla chips, spicy, and we had about 3 beers, one of them 7.5% beers. Now, I got to tell you, every now and then, the reason why I didn't get drunk is because Scott was ruining my buzz. But I was out there in the backyard. That's why I don't want to go to these goddamn theaters anymore, man. I was having a nice time. Even angry. I was sitting up there, I was like, can you imagine how much angry I would have been if I'd been sitting in a cold, dark theater watching this dumb motherfucker, man? But yeah, I tell you, one of my biggest complaints in here is that, okay, so you got all this time. It's not that the running time really bothered me. I didn't feel it until we were right there at the end. But you got all this time, man, and you leave things dangling.
A lot of things dangle.
One of the main things that bothered me in the movie is that, okay, so you put all these characters in and you do some of these scenes that you don't need to do, and big issues come up with Bill Burr's character.
Yeah.
Big issues. It's like, okay, wait a minute, you not going to answer that? At all? I was like, because I remember saying to myself, I was like, I wonder... Because it got to that point when I was looking at when it was near the end. I was like, I wonder if they're going to come back to what Bill Burr, what happened to him. I wonder what's up with Bill Burr's issues. And I looked at running time and the movie's like, well, you too bad because we ain't talking about that. Yeah. We're leaving.
This ain't the Bill Burr movie. How about that?
Yeah. I'm like, well, what you bring it up for then?
There's even, his not girlfriend. There's such a, what's going to happen here?
Yeah, there were some things I don't mind being left up in the air, because like I said, I don't want a resolution for everything in this. I want this. This felt genuine enough to where I was like, don't give me answers for shit. I mean, some things, yeah. Some things definitely, yeah. But certain characters and certain storylines, some can go if they feel natural. That's fine. You don't have to address it. Some other things, if you brought it up and it was that serious and it's that intriguing, you need to at least address one of these. Mm-hmm. But overall, man, I will say that I like the film. I like it. I mean, I felt like Scott was my kid, man.
It's the kid that you would be blessed with.
Because
it's your karma.
This boy ran me through the ringer with this movie. I was like, this feels like my son, because he is pulling me through some changes.
It's funny because I see him less as your son and more as the son of the woman that you're dating. Yeah, because that would be your fate. Ooh. I mean, you're married now, but that would be your fate, where you're dating some woman and you got this son that you're trying to deal with. Yeah, this has a little bit of Step Brothers to it.
But see, they didn't go that route of Step Brothers, but they rewarded them for being stupid.
I know.
I don't mind movies about man-children if they're not being rewarded for being, dumbasses, man. If you're not being rewarded for your stupid actions. And that's not what happened here. Nah, man, the movie is very genuine, man. I like it. I actually enjoyed this a lot. I give this a high matinee.
I'm right there with you. I thought this is really a high matinee. As much as I don't like that it's so long, it didn't really feel it. I mean, there's that point. And yeah, there's some minor things here and there, but for the most part, it's challenging. And there's just something about it where there's that feeling of like, yeah, I know this guy. I know people like this guy.
Yeah.
And, maybe not exactly, but enough. And I'm not with them all the time.
Yeah.
Most time when I get to know them and I start distancing myself because I'm like, I don't need to know all that about you and get you out of my life. I think it's funny how the movie is the King of Staten Island. And it makes Staten Island look like the last place you want to live.
It's the New Jersey. New Jersey.
I know. You're like, man, these people, no offense, but y'all are kind of horrible.
They said New Jersey looks down on Staten Island.
Right.
They say they look at them like they're garbage. Like, wow.
It's like, oh, that's not fair.